Okay, so it's ticking away now, so I believe it's actually live. Whether or not that's true remains to be seen. We'll wait for we'll wait for someone to pop in and tell me whether or not I'm being lied to by a computer or not. There are two people here, but they're in the background. Maybe talking to myself for a little bit, waiting for various people to show up. Just gonna, it's a little awkward at these moments in time when you're like, is someone actually gonna show up, be here for these things, or is it just gonna be me? Or there we go. Woo, guys, you have no idea how much I was worried there for a second. Ah, thank God there are people here. Ah, goodness. Ah, my heart can wind down now. One of my great fears. So, hey everyone, welcome in. It is September the 15th. It is time for the September 2004 live chat. Um, we got some old things to cover, some new things coming up, and future stuff to talk about. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the world of book news for Shinofin Books, I guess, to start off with. While you all settle in, start in with your questions and comments, and remember to not go with spoilers because that would be irritating. And Arctic, I can see that you're here, so don't be a troll. My moderators can and will use a banhammer if you troll too much. So, recent news: the audio for Antecedents Legacy 3: Terran Tactics came out on the 10th. So for you audiophiles out there, you have that in your hot little hands to sate your your auditory nerves, auditory, audio nerves. Words are hard, guys. That's why I have editors. And then, of course, we just published Aether's Revival 9, Empire's Orders on the 11th of September. And it was up on pre-order. And because it was up on pre-order, we actually got one of my books to the highest I've ever been in the Kindle store. We hit number 8 overall briefly for a couple of hours on I think it was launch day. So that was something I did not know I'd ever break into the top 10. So I am gratified and humbled at thanking all of you for enjoying my odd little stories. I do appreciate that. Um, let's see, what else do we have? So that is what just came out. For those people who are wondering out next, we do have the scroll there on the bottom of the screen for all of you. Heavenly Chaos 2, Fighting Past Pain, will be coming out in November. The preview chapters of which have started showing up on Patreon. And of course, Patreon chapters come out Mondays and Thursdays. There is the early rush of chapters for people who are in the higher tiers, because the higher tier you are, you get an extra chapter based on tier and so on and so on and so on. I am um, um, continually surprised, perplexed, bamboozled, shocked, humbled, and grateful for those people who are on Patreon, and for those people who have decided to take an up tier, especially. Um, I do appreciate that. Thank you very much, guys. So you do have your chapters of Heavenly Chaos 2. I know the Discord server has been quite verbose in the last couple of days with the audio for Antecedents came out, and then of course Aethers coming out, and of course the Patreon people who have been starting to see the chapters of Heavenly Chaos 2. Um, the Discord server has been busy this like last week. It's been interesting. Trying to keep up with things um, is challenging at times at the moment, but it's a good challenge. Honestly, most of the people having discussions have been respectful, and I do appreciate that. We had one person who rage quit on us um, when his slant of opinion on things was not readily embraced. Um, these things happen. Everyone was being respectful during that. They just didn't agree with the individual and his assessments of certain aspects of Aethers. So, but yeah, honestly, I can't think of the last time we had us a really nasty like drag out fight. Most of the Discord is respectful, and as long as you are keeping things and having a discussion and not having an argument, we really haven't had any problems. So I do I do appreciate all of that. And then so let's see. So we know that Heavenly Chaos 2 Fighting Past Pain is coming out in November. And then currently we have the tentative Antecedents Luck Antecedents Luck? Wow. Antecedents Legacy for chapter to title to be determined in January. This is Words Are Hard, guys. It's like the end of my day. I am tired. But I do try to vary up the times of things. So anyone has a chance. Like the next live chat, guys, I'll tell you right now in October, it's going to be on a 10 a.m. on a Tuesday to make it easier for other people to show up for those people who aren't here tonight. So I know it's late for the people back on the East Coast, and it's ungodly morning and early for the people back across the Atlantic. And I'm not sure where it is currently for the other side for our Aussie friends, but I am sure that it is also an interesting time for them. So the next Antecedents Legacy is coming out around my birthday. Hopefully, I wake up on the 24th and have an amazing book to read. So I can say that I'm debating doing more pre-orders. So the trouble here with pre-orders, so you're aware, is they have to have the book at least 3 days prior to the supposed release of the book. Up until that gets locked in, I have some wiggle room of changing dates around, supposedly. I haven't like tried to wiggle with pre-orders that much. Normally, I will be looking at doing like a 2 week pre-order if I do one. Um, I'm testing out pre-orders. Aethers was my first test to see what it did to like sales ranking and whatnot. Because the higher something is ranked in the Kindle store, the more Amazon basically throws it out in front of people's faces with a "Hey, you might also enjoy." That and reviews are the two things that really push books through Amazon. So I might start doing more pre-orders. I'm not sold on it yet. I'm probably going to do one for Heavenly Chaos too, when the time comes. But until I am happier, until we're closer to that time, I'm keeping things fluid in that regard. But if I do, then it might be well before that date, depending on how things go, or at least the pre-order will be. Um, Now next year, I am looking at changing how I do things. I am going to a 3 book rotation once Lux Voice 9 comes out, um, and I publish that. That'll end the series. And at that point, I'm likely to go to a 3 book rotation, which means then I will be looking to put out a book every 2 months. So every even month at that point, in 25 going forward, we should be looking on the first of every even month a book, one of the books of the series in my 3 book rotation. That is what I am currently looking at. This will make things a little more fluid and easier for me and my editors. And it then also gives you guys more of the series you want more frequently, while also not being an increased burden on us. It does mean, of course, a three series, not four, but I think most people can live with that since we don't technically know what another series is currently yet. I have first book of a possible other series already finished, as I've said before, my Grafting Demon series. Um, but that is heavily dungeon-esque based, and I have been advised by people that I trust that having two series that deal heavily with dungeon delving might not be the best going forward. So I've been holding off on the idea of when and if I will start that or publish that series. It's more of a when, not an if, because I will eventually publish that series. I really enjoyed the hell out of the first book. Um, but it does mean that I one of my other ideas is going to come forward and be used, when honestly, probably Antecedents would be the next series to finish after Lux Voice. Just because I have a rough idea of story arc for all three of them. I would say Antecedents would be the next series for a wrap. Still a few to several books down the road, but just from what I set out from the start with, I would say that's entirely likely. And that is a lot of ramble for one thing. The audiobook was great. I already finished it. Now, where is the next one? Well, it depends. If you mean the next Antecedents Legacy audiobook, well, that's going to be a while. If you mean just the next audiobook in general, it's right there on the bottom of the screen scrolling by. My dad is going for neck surgery tomorrow. Can I have Aether's blessing? Paul, he can have all the blessings he needs. My father had a couple of spinal surgeries, so I understand the want for comfort and and prayer and good feelings, and depending on what you believe in and who you believe in. So 100%. That is something that for any of us who have parents that we love, I 100% understand. Because not every parent is somebody that you have to love, folks, depending on who they are. Contrary to popular belief. How was DragonCon? Well, Mr. M, DragonCon was good. DragonCon's always a good time for me. I get to meet fans. I get to talk on some panels. I get to see a lot of people that I like and care about that I wouldn't get to see otherwise because we're scattered across the world. Um, it's always a fun time. If it was not a if it was not a business trip, it would be a lot harder. But since it's obviously a business trip and I'm seeing other authors and we're talking about communications and I'm meeting my publishers and my narrators, makes it a lot easier to afford. But I love Dragon Con. The lit RPG gather that happened, I was only there for like 15-20 minutes at the start of it because that room filled up fast. And I do not do well with very crowded places that are very loud. So I am sad I actually didn't get to stick around for that. But good gods, I think that Dragon Con should look at that and be like, well, yeah, I guess people like this lit RPG thing because that room was busy. But that's my opinion. I once again did not stay there for the entire thing. Are you still a couple of books ahead? Technically, yes. And that's all I can say on that currently. Technically, yes. I do want to just give a quick thank you to my moderators who are taking the questions that they think I should work on the most and starring them off for me. This makes it a lot easier for me, so I don't stare at the screen quite as often, guys. So I do want to make sure that my moderators um, are know I am grateful for them. Sometimes I wonder if I tell them enough, so I've said it here live, so it can be recorded, clipped out, and they can use it as ammunition later if they ever ask me for anything. They can be like, "Well, you know, you said we're really useful," so I gladly give them this ammunition. Do you feel Greg will get punished for anything that'll happen in Kraga by clans? Do you feel that everything that happened in Aether's 9? Well, I mean, I can't go into Aether's 9 much because the audio's not out yet. We don't want to spoil it for the audio people. The general question though of you will there be repercussions for what Greg and family uh, do in Kroga by the end of their 5-year tenure? Let's go with a more generalized question. I would say yes. I would say that there is definitely going to be movement within the Empire, based upon the 5-year span that Gregory and family are in Kroga. For those who've read Book 9 already, that should be something that you've probably gotten hints of. And for those who are waiting for audio, I'm not going to spoiler it for you. I can see AL being the next to finish, considering he just did something that's going to push him out in front of the current government. Well, Wolf, I've just answered that, so you are not wrong, sir. Oh. Another author does pre-orders at least a month ahead when he thinks the book will come out, then adjusts the date a week before it'll be released. Okay, Darth. That is good to know. I might look at that. I know some of the guys, especially like the web serialists, who are far ahead of their people. Like what was it that just came out? Primal Hunter just came out, and while I enjoy the series, there are parts of it that just aren't for me. I continue with the series though because there are parts of it I really enjoy. However, for me personally, 5 chapters on a single fight is a bit much. That's just me. I'm not a big I want 5 chapters fighting guy though. That's probably why a lot of my reviews say my books are boring, because I don't spend 5 chapters on a single fight. But those guys, they'll put the pre-order for the next book up by the time the book is being published. So when you get to the end of it, you can pre-order the next book in the series. And I've considered doing that. I'm not sure I ever will, but I've considered it. Going to a 3-book rotation, will Andy be able to keep up with that pace of audiobook releases? Well, currently I publish about 7 books a year. With me going to the new one, it'll be 6 books a year. So I hope so. I mean, the math would indicate yes, but that still has to fit around her schedule. So we'll end up with like where we are currently with Lux Voice. It'll have to wait for a slot in the schedule. So I know my moderator is being facetious, but it's just vague enough that I don't know what the awards what awards he's talking about and the winning. Now, if you mean having your name randomly drawn for the live chats, that would be I would message you on Twitch and ask you which of the challenge coins would you like, Heavenly Chaos not included, and where am I shipping it to? For everyone who's wondering about a Heavenly Chaos challenge coin, guys, those will be available after book 2. And no, you cannot hold a win waiting for a Heavenly Chaos coin. It's not how it works. Have you heard anything more about Lit RPG Con, and are you attending? Okay, so everything was focused on Dragon Con, going into Dragon Con, Wolf, so you're aware. So, as far as I am aware at this time, the Lit RPG Con is going to be held in July in Denver. And yes, I have already I was told the name of the hotel they're going to use for the convention. I don't remember it off the top of my head. I've already booked my room there for that weekend. My conventions for the next slate, guys, that I could tell you about. I will be at the rave event for the Author Nation in Vegas in November. I will then be at JordanCon in what is that? April? I think it's April. It's March or April. I'll be at JordanCon. Then I'm going to the Lit RPG Con in July. And then I'll be going to Dragon Con in August. So that is what it looks like for me going forward. So there's a thing I need to know. I actually have something that I'm going to have to post up on probably Discord and Facebook, or are for those people who are going to go to the Author Nation um, rave event. So if you're an aspiring author or an author who's been published but isn't widely well known, and you're going to the Author Nation convention as a whole, that's a whole nother kettle of fish. If you're going just to the rave, it's reader something something event, I believe. I don't remember. Their rave, which broke up by acronyms, whatever. Which is basically just a large buy books, meet and greet the authors day, right? I will be there for that. There are 3 books of mine if you go to that you can currently buy that they will then print and have on hand for me to sign for you. That is the first book of Binding Words, the first book of Aethers, and the first book of Heavenly Chaos. Now, they gave me like 20, I think it was 20-ish codes for like a discount on the tickets to that. So I need to set up a thing on Facebook and Discord for those people who are absolutely going to give you guys a little more of a discount ongoing. So not a hey, I think I might like to make it, but a yes, 100% I'm going to be there. I can hook up like 20 people with these codes. So I need to do that. I got the email, I think it was yesterday. So it's something I still need to do. I'll probably do it in the next couple of weeks. But for those people who are absolutely going to attend the rave event, I will be making a post in Facebook and the Discord group in the next couple of weeks. So if you're going to go, you might as well get a discount on it. Are you going to pick up Space Marine 2? Probably not, Yak Man. I can't think I ever played Space Marine, so I don't think I'd pick up Space Marine 2. I heard a lot of people got sick at Dragon Con. That is true. There was a contingent, especially in the Lit RPG group, that got sick. A friend of mine was one of the individuals who got sick, and she was already suffering from long COVID. So I hope she recovers soon. Um, I myself had a little bit of con crud. I tested for COVID. It was negative. I ended up having to go to the doctor's office because of what I had. They tested me for COVID. It was negative. Funnily enough, one of my girlfriends got COVID. My other girlfriend didn't. Just the one. That's a thing. So, yes, I did get con crud. I would say it was because my 2 negative tests, one of them at a doctor's office, did not pop COVID, and yet then my girlfriend got it. So, mm, I find that I was looking at Kindle recommendations, could not believe how many books were reverse harem, and that seems to be okay, but regular harem is bad. Well, yeah, that's a whole thing, and would absolutely get me in trouble in some places on the internet. Yeah, so that is just what is. Reverse harem is part of the romance genre, and that is absolutely okay. When people complain about what I've written, the smut in my books, I look at romance and go, the fuck? So I I leave it alone. I whatever. I personally don't care if they're into reverse romance, if they're into monster fucking, if they're into my twice dead husband's ghost is romantically involved with me, or I got pounded in my butt by my butt. Thank you, Tingle. You're amazing, man. Um, whatever. They can enjoy it. I personally don't get it, and I would like them to extend me the same courtesy. You don't have to like what I write, but you don't have to attack me for it either. But the hypocrisy of people is always the hypocrisy of people. It's always. I'm gonna stop. I have to stop. Another question, please. What's on your ever-growing reading list of books to read when you get free time? Oh, um, wow. Okay, hang on, hang on, hang on. So, I need to go. I need to sort by unread. So I still have book 4 of Crystal Core by David Burke. Um, Sibelius put out a new book called Resurrection. That's supposed to be like a completely different take from a lot of the other stuff he's done. I have that on there. Somebody recommended me Wormhole Mana Power. It's something I'm going to get to. I still have the last book of He Who Fights with Monsters I got to get to. I still have books 2 and 3 of Chatfield's The Four Horsemen series I have to get to. Another person I know recommended Unintended Cultivator to me. Still got to get to that. Heretical Fishing Book 2. Still got to get to that. Alpha, um, Kong's latest book, the first book of another series. I still have to get to that. Somebody else suggested Invading the System by Inadvisably Compelled. Once again, Drew Wells' Elidus series. Still got to get to that. Scarlet Citadel by Jack Fields. I met Jack. Great man. Amazing voice. And just a genuinely great individual. I have his book. I've had his book now. And I'm sorry, Jack. I still need to get to it. The second book of The Wandering Warrior by Michael Head, I believe it was called Jury. Still got to get to that one. And on and on and on and on. What I'm going to get to next, I don't know. I just finished um, the last Primal Hunter book. I don't have enough time to read. I give myself like an hour or two a night. It's never going to be enough time. Never going to be enough time. My to be read list. Yeah. Tress tossed a nod to you in the book to Valerie's bed. I know. M. Tress mattress. I can't believe we have a harem writer named Mattress. But anyway, the individual that I know, I talk to him regularly, at least a couple of times a year. He was a fan of mine before he was an author. He did give me the heads up that he was going to do that, and yeah, cool. It was upfront. We knew about it. Totally no problem. The only time I've had a problem is when somebody I never talked to put me in a book and basically compared the red light districts to my stories, and I'm like, sure, there's some of that in there, but I like to think my stories are a bit more refined than just fat fodder. So I took a little bit of umbrage with that one. I am. I will be there. There are some of my books you can order to get signed. I have answered that question ahead of time. I feel good about myself. New Genesis. This is not a knock on you. This is this is this is one of those questions I get, not just on AR, with every series I write. So please, this is any questionable emotion in my tone, not directed at you, sir or ma'am. I am an after action reporter. I I write exactly what the characters in my head tell me when it happens. I have when I start a series, I have the start of the series, the end of the series, and here are some things I'd like to see along the way. I have always gotten to the end of my series, even when I've had to finish them early. But I never know how many books it's going to take because my characters are the ones in charge of that story. And where I sometimes think maybe this will be 3 or 4 books ends up being 9. With Aethers, all I knew was, oh, this is going to be a long one. And I'm right, it's going to be a long one. For those people who are worried that Kroga is going to take like 12 books, it won't. I can tell you that. There are key events that are coming up, and then there's going to be a span of time that is encapsulated at the front of a one book because nothing else of major note is going to happen that you need to be there with the characters for. There will be time skips in Aethers. That makes sense. But how many books are going to be in that series? Not a fucking clue in the world. I never know. How many years have passed in the Aethers series so far? Well, he's on his Magus posting. So there's novice, apprentice, initiate, um, apprentice, initiate, adept, Magus. So, and then they have the training years, and then they have, excuse me, I'm a little congested in my one nostril. They have the years that they're beholden to the Empire, and then they have the years that are beholden to the clan. Now, with a lot of clans, you never get out of that you're beholden to the clan bit, but they are a lot more lenient on, postings and where you have to go and what you have to do and so on and so forth. So, how many years have passed in the AR series so far? I would have to look, but I honestly think that story wise, it's been like 5 years. Because, I mean, they're in their Magus posting now, and they've been there for a little bit. So, I would literally have to go look at my notes. Mm, if you've read book 9, you should have the answer to that. And that's the only answer I'm giving. I'm fully caught up with your audio library. Do you have any recommendations? Well, Guardian. I would honestly first say anything by Andy. Anything by Andrea Parsons, sir. Um she is just gifted and talented and puts in hard work on every single thing she does. If you have all of her stuff, Tess Irondale stepped in for most of Apocalypse Gates. I think you'd be fine with some of her stuff as well. Since I don't listen to much audio outside of what Andy records, I honestly can't give you solid answers. So I do apologize for that. I can't actually help a whole lot there. I will say this because I talked to Mythos regularly. He doesn't think he's big enough to be sitting next to you and the rest of the big name authors. Mythos? Cass? I'm gonna need more. Because the name Mythos doesn't ring any bells for me. So if you can help there, and I'm sure one of my moderators will flag it for me. I need more though. Rogue's Ascension. I don't think I've read it. I could honestly say the name of that if that's the book of the series. I don't believe I've read it. If you're pretty sure you're in Discord, if you'll go to the appropriate channel, which honestly would be the All Things Not Shinhofen channel, I believe, and you put a link for it in there, I will tonight or tomorrow go and pull the first book and add it to my TBR. But honestly, Rogue's Ascension is not ringing any bells for me. How much bigger and more powerful will your beard get, and what magic does it allow you to perform so far? It charms girlfriends. That is the defining magic of the beard. Charm girlfriend. Without the beard, they would be enraged. So I can say that it does its job. Um, I do get the dead ends trimmed off of the the end of it, and I do trim this side. I do trim this side because I hate getting hair in my eyes. So this side stays trim. This is the only bit from like here down that gets to grow. And even the dead ends get trimmed off, so it tries to stay healthy. But I think that answers the question. No disrespect. Most of us know how you handle the live chats, dinner, and most times face planting to sleep. How do you recharge your batteries after a con? The same way I do after these face plants and sleep. Honestly, it's not a. My batteries recharge fairly quickly. Honestly, day to day basis. It has to be some kind of long drawn out thing that I hate, where there's nothing enjoyable about it for me to feel it day after day after day. You're like Dragon Con saps me every day, but I get to see friends and I get to have dinner with people that I care about and want to talk to, and that helps. And every morning, the next day at Dragon Con, I wake up and I'm good to go for that day because I know there are going to be people there that I want to see and interact with that I wouldn't be able to see and interact with otherwise. When I get back from con, normally the first day or two is just shot for like work. Like I won't get a chapter written the next day after I come back normally. It's getting things unpacked, putting things away still, and then just loving loving the women around me. But normally, like the day after that, I'm good. Let's go. Um, unless I get sick, in which case it takes a little longer. When is the next time you're giving homework for a chance for your red shirts? Ah, Outlaw. So I do that twice a year, guys. For those who are wondering what Outlaw is going on about, there's twice a year where I do giveaways, and I hold them on multiple platforms: Discord, Facebook. You get the idea. Um, and normally there's a question that you guys have to answer. The last couple times it was what meal would you like to see added to the uh, Bodaciously Delicious Shinhofen meals from one of my series, so we have reference that we can pull from to keep it in house. So what book was it in? What chapter was it in? What meal was it? It helped. It'll help the eventual process that you guys keep asking for, which is the cookbook. Um, I don't always do those, and this October I will probably not be doing that question again. But there will be a question that you have to answer, and it's very simple. You answer the question correctly, which normally means which series. Like so, it would be so as a hypothetical. This will probably not be the question you get. If you could have any one magic in Aethers that you've seen, what magic would it be and why? And for you have to answer those things then. So you would need to know. You would have to list the magic and the why you want it. For those people who don't fully complete the assignment, in other words, they give me the magic but don't give me a why, or in the rare case that somebody would give me a 2 paragraph dissertation about why one magic would be cool, I can at least parse out that this would be the magic they're talking about then. But if for like the cookbook, they wouldn't give me the name of the book, or they didn't give me the chapter it was in, you're disqualified from the giveaway, guys. It's very simple. If you can't follow all the rules, you're not entered into the giveaway. I don't make you use a third party app that's gonna drag your information off to be sold by some third party individual. They're held on Facebook, on Discord, without you guys having to use an email or a sign up or anything else. If you're already there, you're there. Now, for those people who have answered it correctly, you get then put into the long list of people who've answered things correctly. And then because it has to be it has to be fair. Normally, me and my officer corps, or at least some of the officer corps, will go through and find the people who've done the very best. And out of that short list, we'll look for the red shirts. Who are the people who did the very best they could? And one of them will get the red shirt, the cameo appearance. That means you could be the asshole Alvin shoots in the face as a child trafficker, or you end up as an archivist for a magic academy. Or in the case of Matt Dinneman, he won a giveaway that was done during the Lit RPG Con uh, last time, so I made him the healer in the start of Heavenly Chaos 1. He didn't know. He won it off of random chance in that con, and I was like, cool, I have a place I can put him. But if you win, you get the chance for a red shirt. I give one red shirt away on each platform twice a year. October, when I have my full-time published anniversary, and May, when I have my full-time author anniversary. The two things are when I first published my books, and then when I stopped working for other people and I became just an author. So the next one will be in October. And in fact, if I go on my look, it is October 3rd, which means sometime in the next week, I'm going to have to put that thing together and put it up for people. But what the question will be and how you answer it will be decided going forward. I have tried to get people to admit things before, like which of the many female love interests in my series do you like the most and why? And a lot of people dodge that question, and I think that's disheartening. I mean, I can also understand why they don't want some information out on the internet, but at the same time, man, great to see you at DragonCon. Did you see and meet up with Andy? Too tall. I saw her every day. I think we had dinner, if not every night, then nearly every night. She is one of the people that will always have a seat at any table I am eating at. She is she is not just my narrator. She is one of my friends. She is one of the few people that if they needed trouble, if they needed to get out of trouble with certain aspects that may or may not cause issues for people, I would fly across the country and help. She would only have to say, "Hey, Daniel, I need help," and I would literally be like, "Okay, I'll be on the next plane." That is a very small list. For those people who don't understand, the people I call friends is inside of like the 20 number range. The people that I would help maybe do what Infinite there is talking about is smaller than that number. Now I have a lot of acquaintances that I've met, but friends, people that I would be sitting next to in a cell saying that was fun, let's do it again, very small. Acquaintances, the people that I kind of know and like that I would go and help bail out is higher. So, oh, got that on. You guys are really good with questions today. I appreciate that, guys. It makes this so much easier on me. I really appreciate it. I don't remember if you had just planned the tattoo for Heavenly Chaos or had already gotten it. Where you at with your tats? Paul, I already have the Heavenly Chaos tattoo. It's fully done, full color. It's beautiful. I would show it to you right now, but I'm not gonna. Let's see. Let me pull up my monster list on my phone. I don't read that many Monster Fucker books. I think my girlfriend actually reads more Monster Fucker books too than I do. Now, here's the thing, guys, and it's something I mentioned to her. At what point are they monsters? Are elves considered monsters? Dwarfs? People with small animal features, ears and tail, monsters? Now, somebody likes, let's say, Ping, snake torso from basically thighs down, then a long snake tail. Probably monster. I mean, yeah, she's still got human torso and whatnot, but that's a long enough snake tail. Probably monster. But where does each person draw the line? There are people who would say that cat ears, just cat ears alone, makes it a monster fucker book, and I'm just like, I don't think so. So it's one of those things that me and her discussed a while back, and it's something that I consider now, because there are very few women that I've put in my books that are so animalistic that you can consider it monster fucking. At least I think so. What was the inspiration for Antecedents Legacy? I love BattleTech, so I wanted something. I wanted to do sci-fi mecha because there hadn't been a lot of sci-fi mecha-ish books in the genre. But I wanted something more than just BattleTech. Um, and I loved um, Heinlein's Starship Troopers. If they had called the movie anything anything other than Starship Troopers, I would think it was a good movie. But they used the title. Mm. So anyway, BattleTech, giant bugs you got to kill. Giant stompy robots therefore means bigger fucking bugs you have to kill. And I liked that concept. And I was like, okay, well, I can't have someone like Greg there. That's not going to work. I need someone who doesn't fucking care about nearly anyone else. I need more of an Alvin-ish character, but somebody who could fight and lead people in that kind of idea. And that's where we got Xander. And once I had mecha, sci-fi, giant bugs, Xander, I was like, cool, I can write this. And as I sat down to write, I realized I didn't want standard sci-fi. I didn't want blue skinned alien number 2 and hot green woman number 3. I wanted to mix it up a little bit because I like jumbling things a little bit with my books. So I went science fiction fantasy. So all of the alien races Xander meets are mythological races. They're fantasy races. They're mythological races, which then in my head goes, what if the myths we have of them on Earth is there for a reason? So if the whole idea of the antecedents is correct, and that's why we had the one ship that Xander finds on Earth, then maybe the reason we have myths of all of that is because of like genetic code left behind. Okay, I can make that work. That's my alien races aren't alien; they're just myths. And then I ran with it, and I like to think that so far I've done okay. That's what I hope, Prism. Like I said, it's in my TBR. Haven't gotten there yet. But that's what I love. I want, like my books, I want character focus. One of the reasons I love Mattress's books, M. Tress's books, To Valor's Bid, Monster Girls in Space, I think is the series. Mattress, Monster Girls in Space. It sounds like Fab Fodder. It's not Fab Fodder though. I've had this discussion with him. He wrote something much more in line with what I write. There are character moments I think he skipped over, but that's an author's point of view. He wanted more action, and he missed a couple of what I would consider key character moments. But that is how each different author writes things. But those series are still mostly character focused, just with more action than I write. But I want character. I don't just want frying pan, or what is that? Frying pan fire, bigger fire, sun. I want to take the time to know the characters more. So if that is what that is, I will enjoy it when I get to it. I will actually move it higher up my list of what I'm going to read next just because of that. So, Are you a fast reader? I know some of your fans finish your books within hours of you releasing them. How long does it take you to finish a book? Depends on the book, Xerox. I am, excuse me, before I was a writer, when I was just a reader like all of you guys, I would finish a book a day. Come on, camera. There you go. Thank you. Stupid blurry. I would finish about a book a day. Some of you guys read much faster than I do, and I'm wondering how many of you are actually true speed readers, and how much of you sometimes skim through things a little too fast and therefore miss things. Um, like when it comes to action sequences in a lot of series, I'll read the first few, but then after that, I will start skimming through. Like I will pick up my reading pace through an action scene because all I need are the broad strokes for that scene. And if I get to a point where something doesn't make sense, I go back and read a little closer to figure out what I missed that suddenly jarred my brain. But nowadays, now it takes me like a week, 2, 3 weeks to get through some books, depending on length of the book, how much I'm enjoying it. Did I read 3 hours last night because it was a really good point and I wanted to get to the next chapter break, and then made that mistake where I actually started the next chapter, so I had to then finish that chapter? You guys understand. So that's all variable, all 100% variable. Guys, we are almost an hour in, and I am barely keeping up with your questions. Thank you. Thank you. Makes it so much easier when I have other things I can just pop up on the screen and answer a question for or comment on something. Thank you so much. Sorry if this has already been answered. Are you still planning on Heavenly Chaos to be Fade to Black? If so, will the intimacy scenes be on Patreon like you were thinking about? Nausea, that's a decent question. Um, I can say that Heavenly Chaos is going to stay Fade to Black. I have written through book 3. Um, and I will say that it will stay Fade to Black. There might be some tantalizing lead up, some comments made after the fact. But I plan to keep the actual scenes themselves, or at least the graphic scenes themselves, off screen. I wanted Heavenly Chaos to be a series, especially since the focus was mental trauma. Well, physical, emotional trauma. I wanted to make it a little wider net, so you could, if you wanted to give the books to 14, 15, 16-year-olds, you wouldn't have to worry about them reading graphic sex scene. So it is going to stay Fade to Black. Whether or not I will actively write out the intimate chapters and then post them on Patreon, I don't know. Um, there would have been a couple of scenes I should do that for if I was going to, and I hadn't. So I might not. I don't know. We'll have to see. What's wrong with long series? Tell you the truth, I'm hoping Heavenly Chaos is long and has spin-offs. That's the one thing I can tell you right now, Gith, probably won't happen. My brain doesn't work for spin-offs. It's not how I'm just an after-action reporter. I just tell you what the characters tell me. Now, if for whatever reason one happens, some other character's like, yo, I know that you love Ben and his girls, but I have something I think you should tell as well. Yeah, okay, cool. It would probably be. I doubt it would be a long. I doubt it would be a series on its own. It might be like a standalone book off to the side, tied to the series. But I very much doubt it because that's not how the stories in my head are. They follow the main character. That's why Heavenly Chaos could follow the path of a lot of other web serials, where you get 5 chapters that follow some other side character that you met and eventually, they meet back up with the main character. But the main character and them don't have like a long hash session about what happened because you saw those 5 chapters already. Um, but that's not how my brain works. So it is unlikely there would ever be spin-offs. But at the moment, yes, it does. It does seem primed to be another long series like Aethers. I very much doubt. That's one of my sisters. Really doubt. Thank you for answering the question. I also have a question. Why did you decide to have a Gaelic series? Because I'm part Irish. Anybody who's seen me in the sun without sunblock will tell you that boy is Irish. My mother is French and Irish. My father is Italian German. Um, I've always loved Celtic myth. There's there's so much you can dive into with the Celtic mythologies. Um, so it's just that I just touched back on something that I loved when I was growing up. I I read I read a lot of myth books that were on my dad's shelves growing up. Some of them included Celtic mythology. I am currently nearing the halfway point or over halfway point of Antecedents 4. So currently, my editors and stuff are working on Heavenly Chaos 2. I am working on Antecedents 4. However, the reason why I'm not working all the way on Lux Voices already is because when Heavenly Chaos 2 time came up in rotation to be written, I had already had it done. So I wrote Heavenly Chaos 3 and then got to Antecedents 4, which is why I'm not done with Antecedents 4 yet. So that's why I said technically, yeah, I'm still a couple of books up, but it's an odd couple of books. It's not like book. So yeah, that's a thing. Is the cookbook going to be like Nanny Ogg's cookbook, complete with antidotes? I don't know, Buck. I don't know. First, we got to get all the recipes in, and set, and make sure everything is right, and all of the rest of that jazz, before we get to the whole how things are going to be laid out and everything else. Oh, cool! I'm catching up to everyone. I'm only down to 10 questions. Suckers! Were you told how much your coins went for at auction? If I remember right, it was $380. That was a complete set minus Heavenly Chaos. That was a coin for every book series except NPC Lives, which doesn't have a coin because that was a one book compilation of the short stories that I wrote for Patreon back in the day, plus the Heavenly Chaos coin. Everything else has had a coin. So what is that? 11 coins? Hang on one second. Oh, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. It's 9 coins. Apparently there was a bidding war on them when the auction was going on. A couple of people went back and forth, back and forth on them, and they went for, I believe it was 380, which prompted me to look at one of my officers and go, "Damn, maybe I should be selling these after all." And they went, "Yeah, you really should." And I went, "Nah, I'll just keep giving them away." I think they'd lose their luster, honestly, guys, if you could just buy them. I wouldn't have anything to give away during these then, honestly. That would make me feel bad. I mean, I guess I could still give them away for the people who didn't want to buy them. But I'll probably just continue to give them away and maybe do the auction things with them, honestly. So Ugh, wow. Somebody did the math. I appreciate that, Yagman. Thank you for doing the math. Will the Demon Punk series be taking over after Binding Words? Binding Words has been finished for a while. Technically, Heavenly Chaos stepped in. So, I don't know. Oh, you corrected yourself? I haven't gotten to that question yet. If it was flagged by my mod, then he could flash it up for me. I'll give him a second. If you wanna ask the question again, Archeron, while my mod is there, they can grab it right away and throw it up on the screen. I don't know how long ago that question was asked. Is the problem? Oh, Lux voice not binding words. Got it. So would it take the place of Lux voice? And I quasi answered that. Lux voice is going to drop, and I'm going to do a 3-book rotation. So why draw the line based on how they look and not what they do? I'm assuming you're talking about Monster Fucking Infinite, and that the term comes from fucking somebody with monstrous features, not monstrous personality. Otherwise, there's a lot of people in the world who fuck monsters today. You subscribe to any other author's Patreon pages? If so, who? There were only two, honestly, at this point that I still have subscriptions for, and that's Dave Barak, who does web comics. Jesus Christ, guys, this is why I suck with names. Dave Barrick does, I think it's Girl Power, and now I have to open up another tab. Hang on, I have to open up a tab. It's gonna bother the hell out of me otherwise. Girl Power, GRRL Power, Dave Barak. He's actually he read through at least Binding Words that I know of. I am not sure if he has kept up with other stuff I've written, but I like his comic, so I subscribe to him. And the other one is Sage Philip Brown, who has a web comic that he updates once a week that is a lit RPG called Artificial Incident. Sage has done some of the art that I've posted up on Patreon before. He has he has a cartoon-esque style. Um, I subscribe to their Patreons. Those are the only two that I've currently subscribed to. There was a lot more at one point, but I pruned things down. It's like Discords. There was at one point I had like 25 Discords. I can't keep up with that. And if I don't stop by regularly enough, I'm not going to stay on the Discord. If I am not going to stop by and at least check things out once in a while, I'm not going to stay there. I have very limited spoons, and if it sits there and I don't use it, my mind says, why are you still there? I can't answer that one. So in AL, we have a slime, a dryad, changeling, elves, vampires, dwarves, rakshasa. I mean, yeah, but like I said, I like myths. I decided to go with myths instead. So we've been here for an hour, and I know we have the scroll on the bottom, but I'm going to go ahead and give a quick recap, guys, because I remembered to do it this time. Excuse me. The audio for Antecedents Legacy 3, Terran Tactics, came out on the 10th. I won't have any idea of how that does because that goes through Podium. I will eventually get told with Podium, hey, we sold some of your books. But I hope that those people who have picked it up have really enjoyed it. We published Aether's Revival 9, Empire's Orders on the 11th with the pre-order, and it hit the highest I've ever been in the Kindle store before. So I was very, very happy with that. The next book out is going to be Heavenly Chaos 2, Fighting Past Pain. The preview chapters that are up on Patreon are going up on Patreon, with chapters going on Mondays and Thursdays. And then following that, we will eventually get back around to Antecedents Legacy 4, the chapter that's still be determined. Audio for Lux Voice 8 and Aether's 9 are slated eventually because of working around the schedules for getting the narration done. Yeah, that wasn't that bad. Light, I will go ahead and answer this question for you, because I have bills to pay. Is what it came down to. The series was not the most well received out the gate, and I had hoped that people would fall into it and continue the readership would pick up. And I was reminded that readership only normally ever drops off, doesn't pick up with as the series went on. And I was going to end up taking a loss if I continued to publish books in that series. So I had to make the choice of advancing it to a point where I was happy setting it down. Luckily, going into that series, I knew that I had an out to do that, and that was them deciding to have kids and stop adventuring while they had their kids and their kids were growing up. So I took that out. But that's why, because I have bills to pay. I'm not something I'm entirely proud of, but I gave a soft wrap to it because that's better than just leaving a series and never finishing it, which is a pet peeve that I fucking hate as a reader. So, but that's why. Sad but true. When this is my full-time job, I still have to make sure that things are going to pay through, which means paying my editors, paying my artists, paying me so I can pay my rent, my utilities, well, my mortgage and my utilities. So yeah. What panels at Dragon Con do you attend? It depends, Tutal. There's not one that I'm like I'm always going to attend this panel. Normally it's going to come down to when I have free time. Because there are panels I would have loved to have seen, but I had a panel at the same time. Normally I will go to friends panels. So I made some of KT Hannah's panels. I made it to a couple of Dakota Krauts panels. I stopped in for at least a little bit for one of Tao's panels. You got a bean. She's harassing you for food. Oh, come here. You're gonna up my viewership. Yeah. Look how angry. So angry. So angry. Little plushy little princess, the angriest cat in the world. So there's no panel that I'm like, oh, I'm always going to attend this panel. So it all depends on what's going on, when, where. Is there another panel I want to go to? There were a couple of panels I would have liked to have, other panels I would have liked to have spoken on, but I am not good at like going up to people and being like, well, next time you have this panel, you should totally have me on it. I'm that's not who I am. So what are the top 2 favorite genre of book to read? I don't really do favorites. Actually, no. Fantasy. Fantasy, obviously. Fantasy still outsells sci-fi. You're gonna be on camera if you come any closer. But I mean, outside of lit RPG, game lit, I love the hell out of this genre. It's what I write in it for a reason. I am very much more game lit than lit RPG. Um, Heavenly Chaos dips me back into lit RPG again with more solid numbers and stat pages again. Um, but fantasy, lit RPG, I keep up with some of the other harem authors, but honestly, harem is so saturated with fat fodder more than good solid relationship books that it gets disgusting quickly to me. I don't know how, Paulo. How are you just now seeing that I'm live? I don't know. Why are you just seeing this now? Uh oh, there's a Mr. Shinhofen in there. Mr. Shinhofen was always my father as far as I was concerned. Have you recently had any after action reports from Dr. Sean? I miss them dearly, to be fair, all three of the active series. Doc still has one more book to go, Mesra. I still have one more book to finish this series. So you'll get a little bit more from Doc. Um, Sean's story was done. Normally, when a series is done, that's it. I give you guys the end of the series. They get to go off and have a good life. So no, I have not had any other inspiration from Sean. Excuse me, Jesus. Simon says, if if, and I say it as if there was a recipe from one of my book series that you were like, oh my God, or for whatever reason, you're just like, I really want to help this become a thing, and you wanted to take the time to go through a book, find the different foods, find the book name, find the book chapter, find the meal that is being talked about, if it's strawberry stuffed French toast, for instance. If you wanted to do those things, and then drop a DM to me in Discord, I would not say no. Um, I don't know if I will reply to the message. I do not know that there would be anything in it except my eternal gratitude. But if you wished to do that, that would be fine. Do you ever name your characters after people in your life? Brian, my best friend that I see multiple times a week, that I hang out with, I play BattleTech with, I watch anime with, play board games with, we game together. He goes to Dragon Con with me every year. His name is Sean. Sean. His last name isn't McDougal, but his name is Sean. I hope that answers your question. With everyone, it seems, loving Marvel, I like the refreshing take of someone shitting on Odin and Thor in binding words. Have you? What made you desire to make Thor like the spoiled, Skippy-ish bad guy? Honestly, guys, depending on what myths and stuff you're looking at, Thor was a brute. He was the man who went out and killed those people who came up against the Pantheon. And if you read some of the myths, it wasn't Loki got bored. It was, hey, Loki, we don't want to pay the giant for finishing the wall. Make sure he can't. How the fuck am I supposed to stop him from finishing the wall? I guess I'll become a horse then and like just seduce his horse so the guy can't move the stone he needs. And I made a mistake and I became a female horse, and I therefore then got pregnant with Sleipnir. And I couldn't stop him, so you guys sent Thor out to kill him anyway, so you didn't have to pay him. And then thanks, Dad, you took my horse kid and made them your steed. Okay. I mean, it really depends on what myths you read, how you want to view them. So, meh. I mean, it comes that's all it comes down to. The Marvel Thor is yeah. I love the actors they got to play in those movies. But yeah, yeah. Beef stroganoff is an easy meal. It's basically some kind of beef in a gravy sauce with noodles. It's honestly why I took the inspiration from Babylon 5 with Swedish meatballs. You got brie from the home world. No, actually, this is an Earth dish called Swedish meatballs. I mean, in some series, it just works. But the idea of, hey, we took meat from that creature, put it in this gravy sauce, and put it over noodles, it seems like a pretty straightforward kind of thing that would happen. Uh, Daniel, Danielle just denounced the cult of the sporks. Did I denounce the cult of the sporks? I don't think I denounced the cult of the spork. I don't remember doing that. Maybe I did. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time I've done something stupid. Podium was advised of my publishing schedule going through all of 2025. I have done my due diligence with Podium. How are the sales of AR9 compared to other books in the series for the first week? I don't look at the first week Spider Fox. It's always the first month. The first 30 days is how I judge anything. Because in that first 30 days, I normally need it to make the money to pay my editors for the work they did, pay my artists for the work they did, pay my bills for the next 2 months. I judge off of the first 30-day window. Normally, the first week is the high point, and then after that, it's like the first like 4 days is high, and then it's slowly tapering for like a week and a half, and then it's a more pronounced drop off until it basically gets back to back catalog keeping you afloat again. Um, so I look at the first 30 days. So like next month I will know. Um, Based off of just eyeballing things because of like sales ranking and where it's still staying because it's still above 200 today. I would expect it to still be above 200 by Tuesday, which will be that first week, which means it should be then right in line with what the rest of Aethers was for the first 30 days. We'll see. Time will tell. But I take the first 30 days view because after 30 days the high has fallen off. How is it going all? Sorry, I haven't had a chance to scroll through chat. My question is, we do find out in book 2 Hemlock Chaos what Sadistic Sadie first physical changes as she just hit rank 4 and the first change should be. It is mentioned in the first book, Crimson. It is absolutely mentioned in the first book. It is not remarked upon greatly. It is not. Mm, 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 mm. It is not the sphinx-like ears that Agatha has. There we go. I knew that I had one like prominent one that I could absolutely go to. But it is mentioned in there, and I will go ahead and tell you here. Her eyes became red. She didn't end up with anything overblown. If you were the MC in a series, which series would you pick? I mean, any series ever? That's a big question. Out of just my series, I'm gonna assume you mean just my series. Out of just my series, if I was gonna be an MC in any of my series, who would I pick? Well, I can't pick Sean. My friend is Sean. I'm not gonna take away his series from him. That's kind of a dick move. I'm not that big of a dick. I am a dick. I'm not that big of a dick. Um, I'm not sure I have Gregory's willpower to hold off um, until he's powerful enough to declare himself. Because if he declares himself early, he's dead. The Emperor would not allow that to happen. So I'm not sure I could do that. Honestly, being Xander wouldn't be too terribly bad. Xander's all right. I mean, Alvin. I know where Alvin ends up. I know who he ends up with. There's a lot of positive there. There's a lot of positive there. Um, I would skip on Doc. I really don't want to get into the whole Holy War thing. I could take Albert. Could take Seamus from Alpha World and then Dungeon Walkers. I mean, it's not terrible. Terrible what happened to your best friend's daughter, and I know my best friend's daughter. So actually, I can't do that because that would be a crime. I can't allow that to happen to somebody I know. Uh, I could always take David Dumoulin from Last Horizons. That would be all right. I mean, the dying of cancer thing would suck, but then I get eternal life because of uh, Balin. Yeah, there's a couple of choices in there. There are a couple of choices. How does it feel to become one of the godfathers of the harem genre? So many new writers have referenced your books and cited you as inspiration. Honestly, I don't know how to feel about being called one of the godfathers of the harem genre. Honestly, considering at least half the harem genre, I actively do not like. I mean, I do not fault them for writing to market, writing fat fodder, and making money off of it. I take a little bit of umbrage with my well-rounded character-focused books being lumped in with that. Mm, for the people that I know of who've been like, "Hey, I wrote these because of Shinhofen," that's only an honor. I wow, I'm glad I could inspire you. Honestly, for like M. Tress and one or two others whose name, once again, guys, there's a reason I use spreadsheets. Okay, I really apologize. There's a reason I have spreadsheets. For those people who've come to me and said, "Hey, look, I've written my first book. You really inspired me." That's humbling as fuck. Humbling as fuck. The fact that me, some random guy with weird stories in my head, inspired you to go off and do something. Wow. Because when I think of my inspirations for writing, that's Adams, that's Douglas Adams, that's Heinlein, that's Lasny, that's Pratchett, those are big names. I think somebody would be like, "Yeah, Schoenhofen did that." The fuck? Um, so kind of a mixed bag, honestly. Mi- Kind of a mixed bag. Like I said, I don't fault those authors who have a fan base and who make money with their fap fodder. Cool, more power to you. But honestly, you're fap fodder. That's where I have a hard time with the whole. Yes, I'm part of the harem genre, but I like to think of my characters as multi-romance stories, male-focused male romance stories. It's really hard because I write character-based stories, which Definitely not literature. That's reverse harem. Oh, it really is. It's not. Oh, literature is female-focused romance. It's not just monster fucking romance. Oh, okay. I do not. I do not. We've had this discussion. I'm not rehashing it on air. I've already referenced it during this live chat. Ah, she tries my patience. I'm not looking at any new harem authors. I'm sticking with Shinofen's Bruce Centaurs. Otherwise, I'm done. McKnight, I would actually point you to M. Tress's books. I think he did a good job with the 3 books in that series that are out. I know he has other series that he's working on along with the continuation of the Monster Girls in Space series. I am looking forward to it. I think he does a really good job. I mean, some of the other guys, some of the older guys, I still got and read. I still read Iran stuff. I still Rand slash Randy Darren. Um, God damn it, Michael Scott Earl. And I am going to keep blanking. Scotty Futch is considered actually harem as well. And you know what? I'll read his books every goddamn time he publishes. It's not as often as I would like, but he will always make me laugh. But I understand the sentiment. Normally, for like that, for like a new harem author into the genre, there are a couple of people I know who will read them, and if they come to me and go, "Dude, character focused, read this," I'll take a chance on it. Are there dryads in the AR University? I mean, I know they have academy. I don't know if they have a university per se. Pretty sure you meant universe. Elves' power seem more dryad based. I mean, we haven't technically seen anything like a dryad. We have seen elves in their plant based powers though. So I just answered that question. So modern take on a lot of old stories and mythos have made have been made family friendly. Of course they have. If you guys go back and you look at the actual old myths and old fairy tales and folklore, they are dark, grim, brutal things. And society nowadays has decided to make things a lot nicer and safer and kid friendly. Honestly, I think we should go back to old Grimm's fairy tales because then you get the lessons that were intended with them. Oh, cool! I am almost caught up on you guys. Yeah, gonna catch up. Yeah. Is there a property that you would like to write that you have actively never brought forward due to knowing how that it wouldn't make it in the market? I have a couple of things that I know that I could write, and I dabbled with a couple of them before I set them down, just enough to get the seed out of my head. They were not going to sell. For everyone who says, I want a villain story, you're a very niche audience. You're a very niche audience. I'm sorry. Most people don't want a true villain. They are okay with morally gray characters, especially morally gray characters who do the right thing in the end. But very few people want a true villain. And I could 100% write a fucking villain story, and it would not sell. And that doesn't work when I have bills to pay. So you said you have too many spoons. It's not. Then that's not denouncing the spork. It's a saying. Do you put any of your profit of books into advertising? Wolf, the only advertising I've ever done is going onto a Facebook group and saying, hey, I have a book that's out. I have talked to authors who've looked at me like I am fucking insane for doing that. But I've actually never paid to advertise my books anywhere. I have talked to a couple of people about maybe hiring somebody to try doing so for me, but considering the niche of harem, I am not sure that advertising anywhere would actually get me much traction. But no, I've actually never put money into advertising, which, like I said, has blown some authors' minds because I do fairly well. If you had a superpower, what would it be? But we get to choose the offset. I don't know. Oh, you mean the offset, the thing that turns off my power? Why? Why does that exist outside of stopping like Superman? Because otherwise, how do you kill Superman? He needs kryptonite. Otherwise, you have basically somebody who's invulnerable to all forms of damage, who has super speed, can fly, has laser visions, and da 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 da. But a lot of other superheroes actually don't have a hard counter. They just have something they're not good at handling. Um, and honestly, out of the whole idea of superpowers, I was always a big fan of Wolverine and Deadpool. So the fact that we finally got a movie with Wolverine and Deadpool made me very happy. Heavenly Chaos was my second best-selling book one ever. It was behind Aether's Revival in that regard. So if things continue like I hope they will, then Heavenly Chaos 2 should fall right in line with basically how Aether's did. Now, because Heavenly Chaos is Fade to Black and is going to remain a triad, I wonder how well it's going to be received. We'll find out. I only have a couple more questions, guys, and then we're done. So, why thank you, sir. My Aether's Revival t-shirts. Yes, very nice. Yes, Kuma. Yes, it did. Once again, fantasy outsells science fiction. That's just fact. You could look at what Xander is doing as a Holy War too, but just because he's not doing what others were. I mean, is it though? At the moment, I would argue that it is not. At the moment, it's a difference of ideology. It's not really a holy war. Good gods, I haven't read the Dragon Riders of Pern since I was in high school. You're talking like 30 years ago, Mr. M. So honestly, I do not feel comfortable trying to jump in on the subject. There's a lot of things that McCaffrey wrote, along with. Good gods, hang on. There's a reason why I have spreadsheets. As I mentioned, names are not my strong suit. Hang on. I'm gonna have to go look it up. Weiss and Hickman. Thank you. Jesus Christ. Um, Weiss and Hickman's series and stuff. There are so many of the old fantasy authors that I loved growing up that it would be hard trying to break down any of their stuff, especially since my memory is fuzzy at best at times. But Dragon Riders of Pern, I have not read since I was in high school, guys. I couldn't go back at this point and give you any kind of actual comment on it without shooting myself in the foot. Heavenly Chaos will remain Fade to Black. McKnight, that is what I said. And it will remain a triad, is what I said. If it wasn't clear for the setup in book one, guys, I don't know what to tell you. It was me and Sean on my end, too tall. Um, there was a lot of other stuff going on in the background. Going forward, I should have one of my girlfriends with me every Dragon Con, barring life. So, what gave you the final push to get past the anxiety and press publish on your first book? How to state this without making enemies? There were some books that were in the genre at that point that I looked at and thought, if they're popular, what I write should also be popular. And as long as one person can love the book as much as I had fun writing it, it was a success. Because at that time, I worked for the county. I had a very good job where they would need a hammer, crowbar, chisel, and blowtorch to get me out of. So even if nobody loved my book, it would have been fine. I still had a very good job. And I published after a year of sitting on Last Horizon Beta. It's Angie kitty. Angie. I take. Oh, no. Ah, get. There you go, Angie. So as long as one person was good with what I wrote at the time, I was fine with that. And people actually, since it was early days of lit RPG and there wasn't a lot of things out there, people picked it up. They read it. They were voracious at the time. They still are today. And I went, wow, people enjoyed that. I was already finishing up the second book of that 2-book series, and we got that out. And then I moved on to Alpha World, and people loved Alpha World, and that was it. But basically, the anxiety of pushing publish wasn't really there for that first book because for me, I had, excuse me, I had nothing on the line. It was, hey, I still have a really good paying job if nobody loves it. So it not like now. Now it's like, well, if people don't like the book and I can't pay my bills, I'm fucked. So now I have way more anxiety. I don't know what to tell you. Sorry, dude. It was a question that made no sense to me. Sadie, not Sally Rain. Sadie. And like I said, I've already written through book 3, so I am. I cannot say more on that question. There's so many cultivation Zuxia stories out there, and you wrote AR so well. Have you ever thought about writing more cultivation stories? Heavenly Chaos, right? Heavenly Chaos is Western cultivation, 100%. I have a problem with a lot of the Wuxia Zia stories in that they're very sociopathic. They're very much a might makes right mindset, um, which I have a hard time with. So, will I ever write more in that vein? Yeah, entirely possible. But I'll probably end up twisting it to my own ends, like I did with Aethers and what I'm doing with Heavenly Chaos. This is the last question I currently have marked, guys. So we very well might be coming to the end. Words are hard. Take it from me. How will the pacing in Heavenly Chaos 2 go? Is the entire book about the tournament, or does it do the tournament and delving plus more to move things along? Well, Crimson, the book is going to be the next book I publish, and when it publishes, you can read it and have your answer. I mean, I don't know what you want me to say there exactly, because if I answer it in any one way, shape, or form, it's a spoiler. So I don't I don't know what else how I could answer that and not spoiler part of the book for people. The tournament is 100% included. I mean, that should be obvious because of where book one ended. Um, when her schedule allows and stuff, that's what it comes down to. Too tall. I have told her before she has an open seat to always join me on one of my live chats, but it all comes down to when she has time around her schedule. How many hours till the next post on Patreon? Infinite, they should hit around 3 o'clock in the morning, my time, on Mondays and Thursdays. Barring fuck ups. Barring fuck ups. That's when they should normally post through. I think, guys, since I don't the next live chat, so October 15th, 10 o'clock Pacific time. It's a it's a Tuesday, and somebody put it up for me. So okay. Awesome. I haven't read Heavenly Chaos yet. I think it's only the only audiobook of you I haven't read yet. Alpha World hit me hard, and I want to hear Heavenly Chaos will also hear that Heavenly Chaos will also hit hard. Just maybe in the right mental space to read something that heavy. It does deal with trauma light. So that is a very valid point, sir. Um, mental health is underrepresented in the lit RPG genre, definitely in the harem genre. So yeah, I will 100% say that Heavenly Chaos, the first three books, guys, there are moments in there that if you have trauma yourself or you are close with people who have trauma, it might hit you harder than you think. So, uh, yep, I think we are done, guys. I have cut through. I have answered questions. And I know it is really late for people on the East Coast and whatnot, and it is around the time that I normally hang up for the night as well. I, this is the time of night where I pumpkin and I try to get my reading in before collapsing into sleep. So thank you all for coming. Next live chat, as you can see down there, October 15th, 10 a.m. Pacific time. Um, pay attention to Facebook and Discord in the next couple of weeks if you are thinking about attending the Rave event in November in Las Vegas. I should have at least some codes to give out for a slightly increased discount for people because I would like to see you guys be able to have even more money for books. So until then, stay safe. Bye.